Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. We have Aryna Sabalenka versus Amanda Anisimova for the 2025 WTA Finals semi-final. We're very much looking forward to getting into this one. This is one of the most exciting matchups on the tour in my opinion. Two players who hit big. They're very exciting. They've got also some variety to their game, and the head-to-head is also a really interesting one to dive into. The head-to-head is actually 6-4 in favour of Amanda Anisimova, but Sabalenka has won the last one they played, which was at the US Open. They've actually played at three of the 4 Grand Slams this year, and Sabalenka's won 2 out of those 3 meetings. We'll break down the head-to-head in more detail in a second. Before we do that, I want to talk about how both players have ended up playing. Look, Anisimova has looked very good. She's only lost the 1 match to Aryna Sabalenka. Lost that one in straight sets, but then beat Keys in 3 and then Swiatek in 3. Very impressive performance there. Swiatek was looking pretty good. Then Sabalenka, well, she's been undefeated so far, beating Paolini in straight sets, Pegula in 3, and then Goff in straight sets, the defending champion. So looking very imperious, and she'll be looking to continue that form when she comes up against Anisimova. Look, this is a very exciting match, and before I get into the head-to-head and also the tactical breakdown and ultimately my prediction, please do remember to hit that like button, do subscribe if you're new, and do leave a rating review if you're listening on a podcast platform. Your support really does help the channel grow a lot, so we appreciate each and every one of you. Look, I mean, there's a lot to talk about. I'm going to try and keep it succinct, the tactics, so let's talk about the head-to-head first. So as I mentioned, it's 6-4 in favour of Amanda Anisimova. And this year, as I mentioned, they've only played once on hard court, which was the win for Sabalenka at the US Open. Last year, they played in Toronto on hard court, and Anisimova won in straight sets, but Sabalenka did beat her at the Australian Open that same year in straight sets. And then we have to go all the way back to 2019, which was their other hardcourt match where Anisimova won in straight sets. So on hardcourt specifically, and Anisimova actually, she won on, Charleston is clay. So yes, she won the Australian Open 2019 matchup. Sabalenka won 2024 Australian Open, so that's 1-1. Anisimova Toronto 2024 was her win there, 2-1. Anisimova, and then 2-2 at the US Open. So on hardcourt, it's pretty much fair game. This is an indoor tournament. They haven't played on an indoor hard court specifically like this. The court conditions, I would say, are about medium fast, so in between the US Open and Australian Open conditions. It doesn't really favour one or the other. And if I'm being honest, I think both players will have advantages and disadvantages with the conditions. So we can talk about Aryna Sabalenka first. So look, we know that she can be pushed if the serve is not right or she's being rushed, because we have someone like Anisimova who actually likes pace. She's able to redirect and absorb pace really well. There's a few things for Sabalenka that I think she can do to really hurt Anisimova, and similarly there's a few things that Anisimova can do to hurt Sabalenka, and they're not going to be rocket science. So, well, it's not going to be rocket science because we've seen this match 10 times. And if you watch the matches, you would have seen these patterns of play and hopefully agree with them. So one of them, I think, for Sabalenka is the fact that she likes to hit heavy through the middle. And that does mean that Anisimova at times is not able to utilize angles. And that's fine. But where Sabalenka, I think, can get caught a little bit is sometimes going too hard into the backhand without enough depth or width, and then that opens her up to the Anisimova backhand line, which is arguably one of the best backhand lines in the game. Sabalenka's is also very good, but the difference between Anisimova and Sabalenka is that Sabalenka hits with quite a lot of spin, and yes, she hits very hard through the court, but she gives you 5% more chance of being able to get that back, and it's maybe not quite as precise, whereas Anisimova hits it so flat down the line. It's a real difficult shot, and it's so hard as well through the court. It's very difficult to get a racket on that and actually defend. She also goes to that shot a lot. So she will look to redirect that backhand whenever possible, because it's essentially, I would say, her best ground stroke shot that she has in her tool bag. For Sabalenka, the forehand cross court, I think, is phenomenal. and it's a shot that she needs to try and utilize as much as possible. She likes to into out forehand as well to then finish off points, but I would say she's a better mover than Anisimova at the moment, and she needs to actually avoid, and she did this at the US Open, she needs to avoid getting into firefights and trying to out-hit Anisimova. That's not the way to win, because actually Anisimova, I think, will come out on top if that happens. What Sabalenka needs to do, and what she does do and has done quite well when she's beaten Anisimova, is in the forehand-to-forehand exchanges especially, finding those angles, dragging Anisimova out. Anisimova is an extremely clean ball striker, but when she's dragged out like that, she, as I said, is not as good a mover as Sabalenka. She is not able to hurt you when she's dragged out like that. She then gives up a lot of court space, for one, and her court positioning then is very difficult to defend. And she's not going to hit a winner from that position. It's very difficult. She'll have to hit an extremely high-risk shot, which might work 1 out of 10 times. More likely than not, she's going to go cross-court middle, and that then opens up Sabalenka to hit either backhand cross into the open court for a winner, or an approach and then volley, or the into-out forehand. And the other thing that's been very good about Sabalenka's game recently is the fact that she's been venturing forward to the net more, and the addition of the drop shot. And she will utilize that against Anisimova at times. If they're going backwards and forwards and they are hitting a lot of power, Sabalenka will look, if she just gets an inch or a little bit of room to just step in and use that drop shot, she will use it. She will use it, and she will test Anisimova's speed, vertical speed up to the net. Anisimova's serve and return is going to be quite key, because Sabalenka has been serving better than Anisimova from what I've seen this tournament so far. She likes going T, but she will try and go into the Anisimova forehand a lot, because the backhand return is so good, super compact. She doesn't miss a lot on that, and it's extremely hurtful to opponents. The forehand she can miss more, and it's not got as much depth or penetration through it, sorry. And Sabalenka, especially down the T on the ad side, into the forehand, that is a very, very good serve from her, and she hits her spots well on that side. The serve out wide on the juice side, she doesn't always hit her spots there, I have to be honest. But she will be looking to hit that, I'm sure, as much as possible. And I'm sure she's been working on that, and she'll know what to do. I think for Anisimova, I think she just needs to, one, make a lot of first serves and be a bit braver, I think, going slightly closer to the lines. Because yes, she can rely on her +1 power and precision, and I think Sabalenka needs to be really smart here, because on especially the second serve returns, she would ordinarily, if it's a second serve into the forehand or backhand, she might go very hard into someone's backhand corner. And if she's going to do that, she has to make sure it's got enough on it, either depth or width, as I mentioned earlier. Otherwise, Anisimova is going to crack that backhand line, and Sabalenka most likely will be out of position because she'll be inside the baseline trying to be aggressive. So that's going to be an interesting thing to witness as well, to see what Sabalenka does. Might actually be better if she goes deep down the middle at the feet of Anisimova, and that will be very difficult for Anisimova to adjust and be able to dig out. That's going to be a real tough one for her. In terms of predictions, I'm going to go with, because of form, this is still a good matchup, I think, for Anisimova generally, but I think Sabalenka now, before it was, okay, Anisimova 60-40, 70-30 almost. Then they had the matches this year, the US Open matchup as well, the final. I think it's more like 55-45, and Sabalenka's starting to turn the tide in the head-to-head. I think she's going to make it 6-5 in the head-to-head. I think she'll win. I think in 3 sets. I wouldn't be surprised if Anisimova wins. This is definitely a tough matchup for Sabalenka. It always will be, I think, just because of the attributes that Anisimova possesses. But I'm going to go with Sabalenka in 3 sets. Let me know in the comment section below what you think and why. Thanks very much, guys. Stay safe and well. We'll see you in the next video.